Saul is appointed the first king of Israel. He's chosen by Samuel, and he makes sense for a lot of good reasons. First of all, he was hot. That's important. You don't want an ugly king. But he was very handsome. He was tall, a head taller than the rest of Israel, so he was that imposing figure. There's a reason we don't elect short, ugly presidents. You want this person representing the country, needs to look good. So Saul had that going for him. He also had some other things that helped him. First of all, he was an unknown, so he wasn't beholden to any particular political position. He was from the tribe of Benjamin, which after the incident at the end of Judges has been reduced to the point where it's not going to be a big bully tribe that's going to try and assert itself over all the other tribes. It's actually a fairly safe kind of pick. It's kind of like when you hear that there's a presidential candidate that's from Texas or Massachusetts or California. You know there's certain political attitudes and ideas associated with those regions. Saul was not from the big tribes. He wasn't from Judah. He wasn't from Ephraim. He wasn't from Manasseh. He wasn't from those places that could have been seen as trying to muscle in over the rest of Israel. So being from that smaller, being an unknown from that smaller tribe probably was a service, a help to him in that. Benjamin itself was fairly centrally located, so between the two big tribes. So his location was good. And as I said, not a threat to take anybody over. Though he was the first king, he really looks a lot more like a judge in the story. He starts his reign like a judge. He delivered the people of Jabesh Gilead from the hand of the Ammonites, and after his military victory, the people renewed his kingship. At which point Saul had to be wondering, there was a chance I wasn't going to be king? I mean, if I'd have lost, would they taken the kingship away? I mean, it seems as Israel and Saul are trying to learn what it is to have a king and be a king as they go through this. But Saul is a good military leader. He won military victories over the Philistines. He won military victories over the Amalekites. He liberated the people of Jabesh Gilead. But for all his successes, he really had two major failures that caused God to reject him. At first, he was going to battle, and he was waiting at Gilgal to go battle the Philistines. And Samuel was supposed to come and give an offering of well-being for the army before they go into battle. The army is slipping away, and so Saul, fearing that he's going to lose his army before he can attack the Philistines, decides to offer the sacrifice himself. Of course, right on time, Samuel comes walking up while Saul has done this, and Samuel says, "What have you done?" And Saul said, "Well, you were late, and I needed to do this, and so I went ahead and offered the sacrifice." Samuel says, "Because of this, God has rejected you. God was going to give you an everlasting dynasty, but because you have acted in this way, he's not going to." Saul never apologized. Saul never repents. Saul never acknowledges he did anything wrong. I can't figure if Saul doesn't care or Saul is just that blissfully unaware that he's done anything wrong. I think Saul would have been okay if Samuel had been late and Saul had said, "Samuel's late, find me another priest to do the offering." The problem was Saul said, "Samuel's late, I'll do it. I'm king, I can do it's good to be the king, I can do whatever I want." So we see those indications of kingship, the problem with kingship, thinking you can do whatever you want, creeping into Saul's mind as well. The other problem that Saul has is he doesn't enforce the cherem. Remember the cherem back from the book of Joshua. God does the fighting, God gets the spoils. Well, he conquered the Amalekites, but he did not kill the king or the good cattle. He had an idea, you see, I'm going to take the good cattle and use it as a sacrifice and offering later because God really likes the good stuff. Samuel is told by God that Saul has done this. He goes to Saul. Saul comes out to greet him, again, blissfully unaware he's done anything wrong, and says, "Oh, how good to see you. I did everything God asked me to do." And Samuel says, "Then why do I hear sheep?" Well, no, I didn't kill all the good ones. I was going to sacrifice them. And that's when Samuel utters the famous words in 1 Samuel 15:22, "To obey is better than sacrifice." God is not bought off. God is not impressed by shiny gifts. It would be better to do what God said than try to show God a bone. Because of this, in 1 Samuel 15, Saul is rejected by God, and God now has to go and choose another king to lay his anointing on. And we'll see that where Saul made all the sense in the world from the world's perspective, the successor to Saul doesn't make any sense from the world's perspective, but makes all the sense in the world from God's perspective.